Welcome back to the channel, Play It Quick. I'm Gambit, and today we're playing Dawn of Madness. Now, I've gone ahead and chose my wanderers, Claude, Reinhardt, and Catherine Little. To start the game off, each wanderer will roll their sentience values. We'll start with Catherine Little. Claude will roll his sentience colors. Now roll for the Wanderer starting position. Catherine will start in the maternity hospital. The Abomination Freedom will start in the boys' dorm. We place a random woman in the coat encounter card. The first woman in the coat will be placed at Rainy Night in the Wild, and only Catherine Little can resolve that encounter. And we are ready to start the game in round 1. Everything I thought I knew shattered the moment I received the telegram from Rose. How long had I searched for my wife and found nothing? And now she tells me to meet her there. In Halson's Creek, the place where I lost my past, the town I had left years before, determining never to return. Of course, I had to go back. Nothing else matters but her. Climbing into my old silver sedan, I took off toward the hellhole that had haunted my dreams for so many years. A deafening downpour assaulted me the whole trip, the sound unsettlingly reminding me of weeping women and children. It finally subsided as I parked on a dead-end road, deciding to bike through the forest and up into the town. I figured I'd maintain whatever element of surprise I could, though it was a much longer trek than I remembered. That didn't matter, though. I must rescue Rose, no matter what it takes. We read entry 10. Spawn the Terror Vessel Herald and a random terror from the terror deck on different world shards. The Wanderer Claude immediately turns to entry 1. The Herald will spawn at the cesspool. Herald will start with, and Lobotomy will go to storage room. Lobotomy will start with, you double over in exhaustion as you reach the hill's summit, resting your hands on your knees as searing breaths ravage your lungs. Sweat drips lazily off your nose, mingling with the condensation on the path's uneven, dirty stones before trickling back down the incline. That had been a more challenging climb than you anticipated. Finally straightening, you gaze down into the valley sprawling below you. The town's ratty roofs barely pierce the thick, crawling fog creeping methodically up the hillside. Between the mist, the dark, roiling sky overhead, and the soft glow of the old iron lamp posts, you'd never guess it was actually 10 in the morning. As the fire in your lungs subsides, the unease returns. You never did like small towns, but this place, it doesn't matter. You have to find Rose. The trek down is far easier on you physically, but you feel your heart catch in your chest as the fog opens to swallow you whole. Finally, you reach the first houses. How strange. Although you could practically reach out and touch them, the buildings' blurred, hazy outlines seem to lie across limitless gulfs of space and time. As the damp air chills you to the bone, you move forward with your hands shoved deep into your jacket's pockets. The mist rolls in lazy waves, allowing some light to creep between the shadows. You haven't spotted a single sign of another human being yet. Is anyone left in this town? Why does a part of you hope there isn't? A breeze's low hiss tickles your ears, though after briefly listening to it, you pause, frowning. The wind's rhythm is wrong. It would have a natural ebb and flow even if it were short little gusts. But this is too staccato, too consistent. Honestly, it's more like breathing? Looking around, you strain to see through the fog. Suddenly, you can't shake the impression that everything around you is moving. Vertigo hits you upside the head. It feels as if the city is rushing forward while you reel back. Your arms shoot out to stabilize yourself as you almost lose your balance. This cancerous place is alive. Brain and sphere, we've got it. What started as a nuisance is quickly spiraling into outright nausea and panic. You stumble backward until your shoulders smack into a wall. Then, looking up, you see long, rattling tree branches clawing out of the fog, their leafless, dried edges curving like a crone's crooked fingers. You train your focus on the waving limbs, finding the dizziness waning as the mist recedes and the illusion it caused fades. Finally, Looking down again, you see you're facing the town square. You shake your head with a shallow chuckle, silently reprimanding yourself for being so childish. Then, taking a deep breath, you set out along the square's rim. Lumbering along the sidewalk, you glance around at your surroundings. The mist still chokes most of the square's center, but you sense something's in there. You can feel it, crouching just out of sight, watching you. The hairs on your arms and neck bristle. You pick up your pace, your left hand hovering near your pistol. The visibility is better to your right. Looking across the cracked street, you count 8 old, peaked houses that seem to have slouched out of another time. Vines wind through their peeling paint and over their moldy walls, up to their roofs' broken tiles. Half the houses have wooden slats nailed over their tall doors and windows, while the other half are as dark as tombs. A small building catches your attention on the next corner. It seems to be a more recent construction, but is just as battered as the others. A stained, ramshackle sign identifies the place: Halson's Creek Police Station. Reaching into your trouser pocket, you produce a folded piece of wrinkled brown paper, the telegram that brought you here. It's funny, you didn't know people could even send telegrams anymore. You reread the message just one more time for good measure. It remains unchanged, as has the sender. Rose. Your Rose. The date hasn't changed either. It still says May 9th. Today is May 12th, 1978, which means it took you 3 full days to work up the courage to come out here. Now you'll be celebrating your 45th birthday in this hellhole tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Maybe you should head to the police station. If there are any clues as to what happened to Rose, or how she sent you the telegram, it could very likely be in there. However, you still can't shake the feeling that something is watching you in the town square. It may be a bad idea, but should you really leave that place unexamined? Spawn the Derelict Station at the police station, and spawn the Murmuring Fountain on the town square. I will go ahead and place Claude at the police station. At the beginning of each game round, spawn a Devour token in the Wanderer space who has the most eye domains. That will be Catherine Little. Freedom will activate first. First activation every round. Transports to a random world shard. She now arrives in the orphanage classroom. Place 3 sentience markers, red, red, blue. Catherine will perform a domain action using the colors on her world shard. Catherine will use the support card to move to the Herald. She will then perform an attack action against the purple eye. She gets to roll 3 purple dice. She's got 2 successes, and she will use her butcher's knife to spend all 3 hand to deal the last 3 damage, killing the Herald. She gains 1 existence shard. Claude will use an encounter action to enter the Derelict Station. The Derelict Station. You stride briskly along the uneven sidewalk toward the police station. Nothing moves apart from the fog, but you still can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you from inside the mist. Finally, you reach the police station on the corner. A town member may have painted it white at one time, but the only remnants of that color are a few moldy, peeling patches dangling on the walls. Otherwise, you observe only exposed concrete, bare brick, a dirt plot that may have once been a garden, and a steel fence wrapped around the precinct's rear lot. This place is abandoned. You step up to the front door, expecting to see signs of vandalism. Instead, you surprisingly notice a faint light through the thick glass. You try the door handle. It's unlocked. Turning it, you open the door and step inside. The wooden floor squeals as you enter a small reception area, followed by a hall. A fallen cabinet blocks the way into the next room, which looks like an office with 3 brown desks. More cabinets filled with dusty boxes slouch against the next room's walls, accompanied by bowed shelves stuffed with yellowing files. Maybe there's a way to get by the fallen cabinet. You step forward to examine it, passing the stairwell on your right. Your nose itches from the musty dust. You freeze, your eyes widening. Then, slowly, you swivel to the right, toward the stairway. Tensing, you slowly, quietly draw your magnum. You take a deep, measured breaths as you raise the pistol. Steady yourself for what's coming. Test blue for brains and red for hands. We got it. Black boots come into view, then tan pants. You lower your pistol. It's a police officer. The man steps to the floor before turning to appraise you. You do likewise. He's young, probably in his early 30s, and not nearly as unkempt as the building around him. He looks professional and as serious as a heart attack. The officer presses his lips into a thin line, then offers you a brief nod. "You're looking for Rose, aren't you?" he says. You frown, taken aback. As a matter of fact," you reply. "Do you know her?" The officer doesn't reply immediately. Instead, he turns to stare at a corkboard on the wall. You step up beside him to see what he's looking at and feel your body growing even tenser. Missing posters fill the board, each one revealing a different face. All those eyes seem to stare right into your soul. Noticing the picture in the board's center feels like taking a punch to the gut. The woman looks so much like Rose. Almost too much. Try to brush off the sudden rush of old memories. Test green for skull. I get one shot at this. Nice. If you succeed, gain one random purple domain. Finally, you tear your gaze off the pictures and back to the policeman. He too is staring raptly at the pictures. You don't know why, but something about him seems strangely familiar. Did you know him as well? Maybe at some point long ago? "You should talk to Lady Mary," he says, breaking your train of thought. "She knows all the women in town, especially those who..." The officer glances away, swallowing. "You can find her. Lady Mary, I mean. In the ceremonial hall beside the orphanage." A lump forms in your gut, conjured up by his words. Lady Mary, the orphanage. Those names stir at your memories and send a chill creeping up your spine. "The orphanage is on the edge of town," the officer says. "Go out the door, turn right, and keep walking. You'll get there eventually." Then he turns and starts climbing the stairs again, disappearing around the bend. Your gaze returns to the missing people's pictures and those staring eyes. Anguish floods your chest, clawing its way up your throat. Why does looking at them make it so hard to breathe? Finally, you leave the police station and stumble onto the foggy sidewalk. A wave of faintness seizes you, dropping you to your knees as you press your palms against your eyes. You notice your hands are wet as you pull them away. Stupid mist gets on everything. Ending B +1. He's gained the police officer. His blue is now 4, and he has no green. Spawn the encounter enveloped in warmth in the ceremonial hall. Catherine will use a support card. She will move to the rainy night in the wild. Catherine will use her green thumb to place a plant token. Then she will encounter the woman in the coat. Darkness. A sudden sound burst harries the ears as a flash of light lances the obsidian gloom. Raindrops hammer glass. Car horns grow louder, then fade into the distance. They're passing quickly. The vehicle's engine revs as it accelerates. Faster, faster, thunder. Then a brief flash, all blurred and dizzied by heavy rain. Lights from lampposts refract in the dark. The engine's roar grows louder. A silver car's fuzzy, rectangular shape flashes past, leaving a streaking white and red trail in its wake. Ending B +1. Gain 1 existence shard. The Wanderer Claude receives 1 red damage. Looking for eyes, blocks the damage. The new woman in the coat encounter over here in the vessel. With the tie, Lobotomy will go first, moves 3 spaces towards Catherine with the most brain domains. The Abomination will trigger their confrontation card. Roll the Otherworld die. Freedom babies will spawn there in the storage room. Claude's turn. He will search. He picks up treasured teeth. Claude will move to the cesspool. Catherine will use a support card to encounter the electric white apocalypse. Lightning cleaves the night in 2, briefly revealing the thick evergreens shuddering as thunder roars above them. The burning jolt of light combines with the cataclysmic sound to rip open the heavens in a terrible spectacle of electric white apocalypse. You blink, trying to recover your night vision as you trudge between the thick, rough trunks and around the bedraggled bushes. Unrelenting rain drenches your clothes and pours over your hat's brim as it streaks down your exposed skin. Your whole body trembles as another chill gust of wind assaults you. Your fingers are searingly numb, as is your nose. You have to find some shelter, or you're not sure you'll survive the night. You so desperately need to get warm. Sticking your hands under your armpits, you lean against a tree and try to reorient your bearings. As you do, lightning once more paints the night in blazing white fire, illuminating a large, shiny object through the trees before fading back into oblivion. You gasp, your eyes widening. That looked like a car. Gathering your energy, you force yourself into a run, your feet skidding across the forest floor as mud sucks at your soles. You almost think you see headlights up ahead now. Yes, it's definitely a car. You're saved! Bursting through the forest's edge, you emerge onto a muddy, gritty trail that opens into a clearing not too far ahead. You see the vehicle idling further down the makeshift road, its taillights shining like burning red eyes in the night. Finally, you notice its driver's door hangs wide open, swaying slightly in the breeze. Something about the situation brings you up short. A chill slithers down your spine that didn't come from the weather. Why would that car be idling here with its door open in the middle of the night and under this nightmarish thunderstorm? You see a shadow move through the car's headlight beams. Someone's up there. Is it the sedan's driver? Conflicted, you chew your lip. This plan might not have been such a bright idea. Should you approach the car or the shadowy figure? Or maybe you'll just slip back into the forest and forget you ever saw whatever's happening here. Perhaps that would be the wise thing to do, if only you weren't so cold. Gain 2 purple brains. Place a completed token and the abandoned sedan and the man in the clearing. Catherine will explore the man in the clearing. Carefully, you creep between the old pines, staying out of sight while still moving parallel to the car. Then, passing the sedan, you crouch, watching the person flickering in and out of the headlight beams. What is he doing out there? The rain thins, offering you better visibility. Finally, you see the person is a man wearing a soggy overcoat and hat. He tips his head down as he kneels in the muddy clearing, allowing the water to cascade off his fedora's brim like a miniature waterfall. He almost looks like he's examining something on the ground. Another thunderous lightning bolt scorches the sky. Briefly, you can see the man's profile, his face distorted in grief. He's weeping, his hot tears mingling with the cold rain. He holds something dark in his left hand. Is it a pistol? The man covers his face with his free hand, trembling as he sobs. Then, slowly, he regains his feet, his body softly swaying back and forth as if being pummeled by the deluge. Suddenly, a low whisper cuts through the rain, embedding itself in your ear. It's not over. Startled, you jerk around, looking for the voice's owner. You don't see anyone, though the darkness and the downpour have closed behind you to smother your senses. Did the man say it? But if so, how did you hear it through the torrent? It's not over, the soft voice says, sounding like someone hovering directly over your shoulder. This time, you can't help emitting a strangled cry as you whirl around to search for signs of another person. Luckily, the weather dampens its reach, so the man doesn't notice. Only darkness stares back at you from the deep forest. Turning back, you see the man reach up and pull off his hat, dropping it to the ground. Then he removes his coat, draping it over something lying at his feet. Finally, he straightens again. It's not over, the murmur comes again. The sound seems less human this time, more animalistic. Furthermore, it now sounds like it's coming from inside your own head. Looking up at the roaring sky, the man joins it in a primordial elemental roar. The sound he emits is twisted with such sorrow, rage, and longing that it barely sounds human. Ending B+1. Gain 1 existence shard. Spawn the encounter compulsion on the maternity hospital. Place a blue consequence token and a red consequence token on the Wanderer Claude's dashboard. Lobotomy will move to Catherine. It's unable to do anything else. Next up is the Abomination, and likewise her actions and her confrontation cards do not allow her to activate. Claude will attack Lobotomy 3 spaces away. Claude will attack Lobotomy with the blue skull. 3. Lobotomy has 3 damage. For his last mental capacity, he will use In His Sights spend 1 capacity to mark a terror with one of your bullet tokens. So he will mark lobotomy with the brain domain. Catherine's the last to go. She will search. She picks up a twisted candle. So now her red sentience is 3. And for her final mental capacity, she will move to the bedroom. It's the end of the round. In order to win, we need to defeat the abomination, and we need 40 end game points. Restore mental capacity, refresh support cards. Since nobody ended on a space with devour tokens, none is drawn. Then the abomination's confrontation card says to spawn 3 devour tokens. In the boys' dorm, and 2 in the nursery. Well, that will do it for this session of Dawn of Madness. We're peering into the mind of Claude Reinhardt and exploring his traumas and deepest fears and secrets. Stay tuned for the next installment of Hymn for the Lost.